Alright, everybody, welcome back to another video. This one, the GFL kind of killed, ruined, tanked. I'm jazzed. I don't know. I'm excited. It's been a great day. Did some things, did some good things. You know how it goes. God bless us with a great Friday. So, yeah, let's get into it. The GFL did ruin this video on a sad note, sort of. This is a one video you actually need old, washed fighters that have beef with each other. You need the grandpas in the nursing home who are fighting over the last walker. You need that situation here, which is not really a usual thing I thought I would say on this channel, but you need it. Anyways, oh, I can't go there yet. Okay, UFC based, so they're UFC fights that happen in the UFC, but we want to do the rematches in karate combat because it's easier on them. The old joints, they can't move as much, they aren't as limber. So it's a nice little square, it's a little bit smaller, it's safer. And then something like you can see Pettis versus Henderson 3. I watched it. Good fight. I was certainly inspired from that fight to make this video. I mean, even like Rockhold chilling was a cool inspiration for me. I love that fight. I've watched that fight probably 3 or 4 times. I'm not a big fan of Rockhold. It was a good win for him, and I like the karate combat format here and there. I'm not a hardcore karate combat guy, so I just want to put that out there. If I reach the karate combat people that exist, I'm not hardcore into it. I just dabble. Call me casual even. Anyways, this is Donald, the elephant in the room. We will address Donald later on, but just everybody say hi to Donald. Hi, Donald. He's a pretty nice looking elephant. So number one, Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. 3. This is in the MMA mythos. This is the pantheon. This is the Kratos versus Raw. This is like the thing that will never happen, but we need it to happen. I'm talking about God of War. If you missed out. Anyways, Conor was a high level striker. Out of that karate stance, fed the Glazers there, a little chum. The karate stance Conor, they get going, little erection. They're here. Anyways, Nate Diaz also solid boxing for himself. He's been boxing recently, mainly against Jorge Masvidal and unfortunately Jake Paul. I think there's someone else in there that I feel like I missed, but he's been boxing a little bit. He's getting the hands going, getting the striking. Remember, karate combat is based around karate, but it's based off striking. It's more of a striker-friendly thing. Nate Diaz, normally a jiu-jitsu guy, but he has a pretty solid stand-up for solid to good. Depends on what you feel. I feel it's solid. Tad bit on the overrated side. That's okay, because again, he did his best. What it's worth. Great jiu-jitsu, though, no doubt. Jiu-jitsu is really his thing. I think the beef and the legacy would, again, chum the Glazers. You get the casuals going. They talk about it in the lunchroom at school. Talk about it in the nursing home, perhaps. They talk about it everywhere. This would make headlines. Although under the Karate Combat banner, I don't know. If this is under the MMA/UFC banner. Well, Conor signed to the UFC, so it had to be in the UFC. It would be even in boxing, maybe it would get a little more attention. But I still think it would. Now, the elephant in the room named Donald. Sorry, we have to address you now, Donald. This is so far-fetched. This is a fever dream. I have been sick with all kinds of things, like a plague, like a bubonic plague or something, bro. It felt like a hangover on the first day, but I don't drink. I'm underage and I don't drink. So it felt like a hangover on the first. That's when I knew something was wrong. And then I got like balance problems where I couldn't like stand up straight without like some sort of like support in my hand or somewhere. It was very weird. I got like crazy headaches came back. And then I had a stomach ache, and then I was like sick, like stomach sick for a day, and then I became all congested. It was just like everything. I had all the sicknesses, bro. I maxed out the list. Anyways, it's very far fetched from a money standpoint. Well, first of all, Dana wouldn't allow it for sure. He would say, "No, we're doing it on the UFC banner. We're doing it in a boxing banner. We are not doing karate combat. I'm not giving the quote unquote competitors any sort of money or publicity from this one." That's the first thing that wouldn't allow it. Third of all, the fight was 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Was it 7? Many years too late at this point. I probably should have known how many years that was, but it's okay. You don't come here for quality, you come here for la passion. You know how it goes. Yeah, this is just I don't know if there's enough interest really from like the hardcore fans. The casuals, because it has the name McGregor and Diaz, and number 3 they'll be chumming. They'll be right there. They'll be running like little fishies. I don't know. There's so many fish metaphors today, and there's just a random elephant. A lot of animal metaphors today. I don't know if Karate Combat has the money because this would cost, unfortunately, like $300 million, and that's just because the event to run. Because Nate Diaz is gonna want a certain amount of money for everything he does, which is why he has to box. And Conor gets like what 33 million base pay to show up to get loose to Dustin Poirier. Did he make 66 million just like pay in total? Like they got a bonus because they pay per view. Just this would need so much money to pull off the event, and they would probably need to stack the card under it in order to get some new karate combat viewers, which costs even more money. This would cost so much money to make. Number 2, Rockhold, the GFL kind of killed this. I'll just get that out of the way. But Anderson Silva versus Michael Bisping too. I haven't watched the fight personally. Like I've watched up to the highlights. I've heard Bisping walk through it and all that stuff. I know it's a pretty close fight from what I've seen. I've seen enough to know it was a close fight. A little controversial here and there, but Bisping won the decision ultimately. It was a big win for Bisping's career. Not so good for Anderson Silva, but Anderson Silva is one of the greatest strikers of all time ever in combat sport. I say combat sport because he did boxing as well. This is a very good avenue for him because it's so striker friendly. It's karate combat. I believe he has. I don't think he has a karate combat background, but he has some similar techniques. You know, a lot of the kicking, a lot of stuff's what he's going to need for this one. Doesn't know much about karate. I'm not really a karate guy. But he has the striking for certain. Bisping's also a good fighter, very well rounded, but mainly kickboxing now with his background. Iska? Or no, is that? It was not Iska. I know he's a UK kickboxing champ, like national stuff. But I think Karate Combat said they'd be down for this matchup because they want to do a tournament matchup with like Rockhold, Lyoto, Anderson, and Bisping. I mean, President Awesome was talking about it on the Jackson podcast, but ultimately he has other people, other shareholders, stocks, all the fancy business terms that I don't want to bore y'all with that I don't know. So it's not about just if President Awesome wants to do it. There's obviously money. There's a lot of things behind the scene location. Now, Bisping has basically said his body's like super broken down. He said this surgery, that surgery. He's this, he's this, he's that. So I don't know if he'd really take it unless there's a significant paycheck. And also on Anderson Silva's end, he's going to want a significant paycheck. I think he's made that pretty much clear. You ain't getting one of the greatest fighters of all time, Anderson Silva, considered by many, get out here and do some karate combat event. And then the real draw was Luke Rockhold, but he's in the GFL right now, so it kind of kills the hype train wise. I don't think these gentlemen have beef really, but Bisping can get into it with some people, Maybe you can bring that old fighting spirit back potentially. He's still kind of a jerk, but he's a likable jerk, so it's okay. Rampage Jackson versus Rashad Evans. I put question mark because I'm gonna frame this two ways. So let's say they do their boxing match. I believe it's April, right? They want to do it, and it goes very controversial, split decision. Rashad wins again. Rampage is like, or maybe Rampage wins. Let's let Rampage wins this time. I like Rampage more. Rampage wins. It's a very close, controversial decision. Rashad's angry. People say, run it back, right? What if we just do it in Karate Combat as the third fight and the trilogy? Or we just scrap the boxing match, put in Karate Combat. I think it'd be a very interesting piece to do here. Rampage is a good striker, good head movement, good defense. That's what Jerry West even commented on. So, somebody like Jerry West, I'm not disrespecting him, but RIP legend was commenting about it. The defense is good there. Rampage has that stand-up defense. And then Rashad, also a very good striker, very funky style. It's a Dominic Cruz-esque, in my opinion, a little bit. The way he kind of stands, the stance. A lot of footwork, too. A lot of movement. He's very quick on his feet, which is good for the boxing. It might be good for Karate Combat, given it's a smaller pit. Is that the word? Yeah, no, octagon. Rampage has this, revenge list. And there's some beef to sell. Rashad apparently gets under his skin. He doesn't like it. And Rashad's apparently mad chill, but he gets on the mushrooms and stuff. But Rampage thinks he can get him going, get some beef here, which I know it's like two old men arguing in a nursing home over the last walker, but it's still something, man. Rashad got drafted to the GFL, but it's complicated here because Rashad basically came out and said, "No, I'm boxing Rampage, and I did not consent to being in the GFL." So I don't know if his agent just signed him up for something. I don't know what that was because the owner has also come out. Darren Owen has also come out and said the draft is fake based off where the fighters live. They're going to do reallocations for the real teams in order to make sure the skills are all even. Because you see some teams like Team Miami were stacked, and there were some teams that were just horrendous. Now, is this a direction Karate Combat really wants to go? Does it really want to be the nursing home fight club? Does it really want to facilitate all these old men grudge matches? And I think President Awesome likes for the nostalgia of the sport, but I don't know if the company wants to be known for that because we already have the GFL, you know what I mean? And it's already booked as a boxing match. I say boxed as a boxing match. Good typo, but it's booked as a boxing match already, so I don't think it'll happen in Karate Combat, but the GFL has me for scraps. No offense, Rampage, but all the good old washed fighters are gone, man. Need to find some new ones, I know. Again, another one. Speaking of scraps, Chael Sonnen versus Anderson Silva 4 is what it would be. Now, Anderson Silva, again, one of the greatest strikers of all time. I already glazed him. I'm not talking about it. Chael is a very well-rounded combat sport athlete who's always game for a fight. He's still in the same steroids he was back in the day. Showed off the boxing skills a little bit. I think he's an underrated boxing in the context of MMA. One of the great rivalries in MMA for sure. Would definitely be interesting to see in the pit, just taking it there. New avenue. Same rivalry, same bad blood. New avenue. How it goes. Now, on paper, it's 0-2-1 in the words of DC. It's not a rivalry because he beat me twice, but Chael put up, 300 strikes and 2 10-8 rounds on prime Anderson Silva, and then he tapped because he didn't know the rules, so that kind of makes it 1-1-1 if you want to look at it that way. And even in the draw, I had it to Anderson Silva, so even then it's 2-1, but I still think there's enough to sell competition-wise to get the folks entertained, Now, the real decider, I think, among other things, would Chael want to go in and limit his wrestling again? Because he's mad that he, quote-unquote, lost, because I guess what he said, he drew. He thought he won, but Anderson lets him win some rounds and whatever. He thought he got played by Anderson into a draw. But anyways, I don't know if Chael would want to go limit his wrestling. I think if he would do it again, he'd probably do it in some GFL, maybe even a grappling match. I'd love to see a grappling match between these two, like a friendly little roll or something. I think it'd be very interesting to see. Throw it on a CGI potentially be interesting just because, why not? You know what I mean? Now, is there really a beef or narrative to sell, given they're both old men with like children and other things to do than just fight each other? And I think they even said that they've kind of squashed the beef after the whole boxing match thing, and there wasn't really much beef to begin with. It was kind of just, they needed some money, and Anderson was going to box somebody. They needed a last minute replacement, and Chael was always game. So I think there wouldn't be much to sell from like a narrative perspective, but I think just because the old heads would come running back and it's karate combat, they'd do some spin on it. Something would happen. It would get enough money to make karate combat profitable for the night. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be that bad. Uh, Now this one's a little weird. Again, I'm kind of straight at the barrel here. Vitor Belfort against Lota Machida 2. This was a great striker with a karate background. Vitor's a well-rounded guy and he's been doing the boxing recently. He's got good striking, good at everything pretty much. Vitor's a monster. I mean, he's an animal. I mean, he just TRT'd himself out. Lyoto said he wants to do karate combat if the that's the word, perfect situation, right? If the perfect situation is there, the money is right, the opponent's right, the location's right, he would do karate combat basically. And the man can get what he wants. He's Lyoto Machida. He is a legend in the MMA/karate world. I know he brought really some of those karate techniques into MMA at such a high level, being a champion and a title challenger in two divisions, right? Two weight classes, 85 and 205, if I'm not mistaken. Was she the champ? Yeah, I don't know. I should do more research. It's kind of an off the cuff, fun, relaxed video. Don't jump on me. It's not like a formal video, because we do a lot of formal videos recently. I want to take a break from those like formal, crazy ones, like the top 5 lists and the John Jones exposed and the this and the that. I want to just be a little more relaxed here. Friendship/previous fight or fight experience would kind of get in the way of this fight. Really, I'm skipping over the first one because we already know this wouldn't really draw much interest. It's scraping at the bottom of the barrel here. Also, that is Neymar in the photo. I just remember that with my ADHD. I didn't take my meds this morning, so I'm a little bit jacked, if you can't tell. Yeah, they're like very good friends apparently, and they don't want to risk that friendship given he already knocked him out in the first fight. It's basically what Lyoto said about around a rematch, because there was talks of a rematch, but they were like, nah, I don't want to do that because he's getting retired and knocked him out. I don't think this would really go down in real life, to be honest, but I actually need to throw 2 names on the board to get my 5th slot, to be honest. And again, is this direction karate combat wants to go and didn't want to blow absurd amount of money and get a perfect situation for an old man yells at cloud/old man fighting over a walker type matchup, you know what I mean? I feel like karate combat really wants to grow up, develop their own brand, develop their own things, and not be known as, oh, that's where all the old UFC guys fight each other. But that's the video. I thought it'd be an interesting one. Shake it up. Talk about something that wasn't related to the UFC. And thanks for watching, and God bless.